For millions of years, the oceans, skies, and lands of Earth belonged to reptiles. They had survived heat, violent storms, shifting continents, and even earlier mass extinctions. Towering giants roamed the forests, their thunderous footsteps shaking the ground. Pterosaurs soared on vast wings, ruling the heavens, while mosasaurs prowled the depths, jaws snapping at anything that moved. These masters of adaptation thrived in a world of their own making. It seemed nothing could stop them, but far away in space, something already had. About 66 million years ago, a giant rock, nearly the size of a mountain, was racing toward Earth at unimaginable speed. It had wandered the solar system for millions of years, until gravity pulled it toward our planet. No creature on Earth saw it coming. When it entered the atmosphere, the sky must have burned like a second sun. Then it struck. The impact was beyond anything life had ever faced. The explosion released more energy than billions of nuclear bombs. Oceans rose into towering mega tsunamis. The moment the asteroid struck, it didn't just hit the water. It punched into the Earth itself. The ocean near the impact site exploded into steam. Water was thrown miles into the sky in seconds. Then gravity pulled it back down, and when it came down, it came as mountains of water. Waves taller than skyscrapers began racing outward from the impact point. They moved faster than any storm wave ever could, crossing entire oceans in just hours. When they reached distant shores, they didn't gently roll onto beaches. They erased them. Coastlines were swallowed whole. Forests near the sea were ripped from the ground. Anything living in shallow waters, coral reefs, fish nurseries, marine reptiles, was smashed, buried, or dragged away. Some areas were flooded again and again as the water surged back and forth, unable to settle. The oceans had become weapons, but the water was only the beginning. The force of the impact sent shockwaves through the entire planet. The ground trembled across continents. Not small tremors, but earthquakes so powerful they circled the globe. Mountains cracked, cliffs collapsed, entire landscapes shifted in minutes. It was as if the Earth itself had been struck like a drum, and the vibration would not stop. Far away from the crater, volcanoes began to awaken. Some had been quiet for thousands of years. Now they erupted violently, pouring lava and ash into the sky. The planet seemed to be tearing itself apart. And then came the fire. When the asteroid hit, it blasted billions of tons of rock and debris high above the atmosphere, even into space. For a short time, pieces of Earth actually left the planet. But many of those fragments did not escape. They began falling back down. As they re-entered the atmosphere, they heated up, glowing red and white hot, like millions of shooting stars. But this was no beautiful meteor shower. The falling debris heated the air around the entire planet. For several terrifying hours, the sky itself became an oven. The heat radiating from above was so intense that dry plants burst into flames. Forests ignited across continents, not from lightning, not from lava, from the sky. Wildfires spread in every direction. Smoke rose in thick, choking clouds. Animals ran, but there was nowhere safe to go. Near the impact site, the destruction was absolute. The asteroid carved out a crater nearly 150 kilometers wide, a scar we now know as the Chicxulub crater. Rock melted instantly. Some of it was thrown hundreds of miles away. Some of it turned to liquid under the pressure. Anything alive within hundreds of kilometers was erased in moments. But even creatures far from the explosion could not escape what came next. Dust, ash, vaporized minerals from deep within the earth. All of it was blasted high into the atmosphere, so high that rain could not wash it away. There, it spread across the globe like a suffocating blanket. Soon, a thick cloud covered the earth. Sunlight began to fade. At first, it may have looked like a strange haze. Then the days grew dimmer. The sky turned gray. Temperatures began to fall. The dust and ash blocked the sun's warmth. Plants, which depended on sunlight to survive, began to die. Photosynthesis slowed. Then in many places, it stopped. Rain fell mixed with harsh chemicals from the impact, turning rivers and oceans acidic. The seas cooled. Food chains began to break. For months, maybe even years, sunlight struggled to pierce the darkness. The world entered a long, cold twilight. Without plants, herbivores starved, and without them, the great predators followed. The mighty dinosaurs that ruled the land, the terrifying mosasaurs that ruled the sea, the flying reptiles that ruled the sky, all began to disappear, not in a single day, but in a slow, unstoppable collapse of the entire food chain. Temperatures dropped further. Ecosystems that had taken millions of years to form vanished. By the end of this catastrophe, nearly 75% of all species on Earth were gone. The age of reptiles had ended. But life on Earth has one incredible power. It refuses to give up. While the giants perished, small survivors remained. Tiny mammals hiding in burrows, birds, descendants of certain dinosaurs, still flying above the devastated world. Fish, insects, and plants slowly returning as the skies began to clear. The world that emerged after the extinction was very different. No longer dominated by giant reptiles, the planet now had space for new rulers to rise. Mammals began to grow larger, forests spread again, new ecosystems formed. And millions of years later, one of those small surviving mammals would evolve into something extraordinary. A species capable of studying fossils, reconstructing ancient worlds, and telling the story of those lost giants. That species is us. The dinosaurs may be gone, but their story is written in stone beneath our feet, and in every fossil that reminds us how fragile and how powerful life on Earth truly is.